What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Spicy Adventures. Right now, we are overlooking Palo Alto. That's Stanford University down there. If you can kind of see it, the building's right in the middle there. That's where I work. Today's my day off, though, and it's kind of fitting that today is my day off because it is the 1 year anniversary ownership of my FL5 Civic Type R. It's been a great year. Yeah, they finally opened up this little lookout again. This has been closed for years, and I'm so happy that it's open again. But yeah, so I decided to do a video today because it's my day off and it's 1 year ownership time of the FL5. This is how she currently sits. Yeah. Again, it's a 2023 model. I bought it with 17,000 miles from a dealer in Sacramento. I bought it on this day, 1 year ago, February 10th, 2025. So yeah, we're just going to talk about my 1 year ownership and yeah, enjoy this drive home. So let's go. Made some notes here so I kind of know what to talk about. It's a little chilly today, but it's nice. A little bit windy as well, so bringing it inside the car here so that we can knock out some of that wind noise. Yeah, 1 year of ownership. So in 1 year of ownership, I've driven quite a bit. Said I bought it with about 17,000 miles. I now have 45,000 miles. So I've driven about 28,000 in a year. That's a ton of miles. Absolutely a ton of miles in 1 year. The miles will definitely start to go down as the weather gets nicer because I'll get to ride my motorcycles more often. Which this year I've ridden my motorcycle to work a lot, especially in the past few weeks because the weather's been nice. So the miles have not really crept up at all. Since I put on about 40K plus in December, I haven't really, driven that much since then, which is nice. Get to let the car sit a little bit. But some of the reasons why I have so many miles in 1 year is I just absolutely love driving the car. So when I first bought it, I think the first major trip I made was to Mount Shasta with my buddy Dan. And, it was a super epic trip. Really enjoyed it. We did that in a day and then came back. And then after that, a few months later, Dan and I drove all the way to Mount Rainier in Washington. And then made our way back down into Oregon to Crater Lake. And then we made our way home. And that was a good few day trip. That was really, really nice. To be able to drive this car that far and just absolutely enjoy it. And then later on in the year, I drove to Yellowstone National Forest, went all the way to Montana, Idaho. Yeah, and that was epic. That was awesome. I was gonna drive to New York, but I ended up flying to New York. I'm kind of happy I didn't drive to New York because that's not a very good place to be driving around and stuff. And I've seen a lot of FL5s get stolen out there. So I didn't, want my FL5 to be the next victim So yeah, I was happy I didn't drive out there, but that would have been a heck of an experience to drive out that far. I have driven that far before. I've driven all the way out to Miami, Florida, but that was with my old FG2. Um, yeah, and that was a few years ago, and that was a great trip. But I didn't want to go that far this time in the FL5. Although I definitely could have. It would have been really fun. But yeah, let's hit the road and talk a little bit more about this 1 year ownership. Some of the mods I have done to the car. So when I bought the car, it was already lowered. If you guys watched my first video, the car was already lowered. I thought it was stock, but I kept figuring it was lowered because it looked really good. And then when I bought the first set of wheels for it, the guy that I bought the wheels from confirmed that the car was lowered, but you know, we looked under it and he was like, oh yeah, you got Swift springs on there. So yeah, so I bought the car lowered and it had the window tint on it already. So right away, the first thing I did was buy some wheels, and those were the 18 by 10 Enkei RTC 5s, custom milled to 5x120. And then after that, the next set of wheels I bought were these gold OEM wheels from a guy down in LA. If you guys have watched my video on that one. And then in between getting wheels and stuff, I bought a PRL stage 1 intake, a PLM strut tower bar, a PLM cooling / bash plate, AWE touring exhaust, and the Acura Integra ADS module. I had 20mm Bonos spacers on it, but I'm not rocking them right now. I took them off just because I like the way the car drives a little better without the spacers. But I love the way the car looks with the spacers though. But I did an autocross in January, and I had put on the Enkei wheels for the autocross because those had, you know, super sticky Hankook Ventus RS4s on there. And then after I took those wheels off, I didn't feel like putting the spacers back on, so I just put the gold wheels on and just been rocking it that way. And I kind of like the way the car drives. Like, as I said earlier, the car drives much dartier, you know. It can, I feel like it changes direction a little bit quicker without the spacers, and turn in is a little quicker, a little bit less torque steer. So yeah, I know that some people claim that the FL5 Civic Type R has a 0 torque steer. It does. It still has torque steer, you guys. It's very controllable though. As for future mods, I definitely want to get a better suspension. You know, Swift springs with the Integra ADS is okay. It suffices. Like you can see, I'm in comfort mode right now and kind of bouncing around a little bit. It's fine. Like it's a little stiff, a little stiffer than I would like. But I think in the future, the coilovers I want to get are going to be the RSR, those best eye active coilovers, so I can keep my adaptive suspension. I really like having adaptive suspension. Being able to switch it between comfort, sport, and plus R is just a joy. You know, like that's a feature of the car that I really enjoy, and one of the main features why I bought the car was having adaptive suspension, and I'd like to keep it. So then you can adjust those coilovers manually and electronically, which is really cool. So that might be coming, hopefully, maybe this summer, I'm hoping. That would be pretty cool. We're on Skyline Boulevard right now, aka Highway 35, up in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I don't think I've ever filmed anything on Skyline before, so yeah. That's where that lookout was. Now we are headed back home into Boulder Creek. The 35 will connect to Highway 9 here. As far as the mods, yeah, that's what I have right now. I like them. They are fine for now. What else? Maintenance, right? Maintenance on the FL5. The very first oil change I did at 24,000 miles. So about 7,000 miles into my ownership. And then Honda, I took it to a Honda dealership for the first one, and they were like, why do you want to change the oil? You're only at 7,000. I'm like, because it's my car and I want to change it. So yeah, so they changed the oil for me the first time. And I have to admit that the FL5, when you change the oil on it, you notice the difference right away. Like the engine is much smoother instantly. And that's the first time I've really felt that in a car. So I don't know what your guys' feelings are on that, but for me anyway, that first oil change, and every time I've changed the oil after that, I notice a considerable smoothness from the engine after that, and it's really satisfying. So the last few oil changes I've done myself, and I think Honda has done an extraordinary job of location for the drain bolt and the oil filter. Yeah, I think the way that they've set it up is beautiful. It's very easy to change the oil. I did a transmission fluid change myself at about 40k miles, and that was really easy too. Once you remove the stock air box, it's just right there. You know, the fill drain plug from the top, or yeah, the filling plug from the top, and then the oil drain plug from the bottom for the transmission fluid. Very easy to get to. They weren't over torqued on. Super easy to snap off, and then I torqued them back down to spec as well. Measured out 2.3 quarts, filled it up. I used AC Delco synchro mesh, and I must tell you guys that transmission fluid is really good. You know, that's what I'm running right now, and it's been about 5,000 miles since that transmission fluid change, and it is really smooth. The gear shifts feel really nice, really smooth. Have I grinded? Yes, once. Like, I've grinded once since the manual transmission fluid change, but I mean it's a manual transmission, and you know, you're not going to get every shift perfect every single time. But what I have noticed is just the throws are much smoother. It's very minimal effort with this transmission anyway. And now with that AC Delco synchro mesh, just makes the throws that much more effortless. Oh yeah, baby. Haven't done brakes yet. Because I'm pretty easy on my brakes, because I've only done one autocross. And even during that autocross, we weren't on the brakes real hard. The course was like whatever. Yeah. So yeah, the only other thing that I did maintenance-wise is just, you know, checking fluids and checking, you know, well, besides checking fluids and changing fluids and checking brake pads. I did have a little rattle coming from the back, and I thought it was my exhaust, because everybody talks about how AWE exhausts rattle and stuff. But it wasn't my exhaust. My exhaust has been really good. So for you guys that are questioning AWE, yeah, there might have been some bad apples out there, but mine has been flawless. And my AWE exhaust wasn't even brand new. It was used. I mean, albeit it was used for less than 1,000 miles. But yeah, it's been really nice, really solid exhaust for me. So no complaints. But yeah, I had this little rattle coming from the back, and I took it to a shop in Boulder Creek, and they were digging around as well, because I couldn't figure out what was going on. And one of the mechanics there was like, it sounds like a, he told me it sounded, when he went for a, I went for a drive, and he sat in the passenger seat so he could listen to it, and he was like, oh man, he's like, it sounds like a sway bar link. So at the autocross, you know, and this was just, you know, days before I went to the autocross, I was getting this little like thudding kind of tapping metal on metal type sound, right? And yeah, sure enough, like I went to tighten that bolt on the sway bar link, and it was really loose. So I undid it and bolted it back in and went out for a spin at the autocross, and it was gone. So yeah, that's the only other issue I ever had maintenance wise. So if you guys are hearing a rattle from the back, check your sway bar links, you guys. I don't know how it got loose, but it did. And it was remedied, so we are good to go now. So now we're on Highway 9. Going downhill. You guys have seen me film this before. Rumble strips. There might be some road action up here. Road work action, I should say. Yep, one lane road. Yeah, but maintenance has been fine. Maintenance has been great. I've had a wonderful time maintaining this car. But yeah, let's go on to the road manners or driving dynamics that I've experienced in 1 year of ownership. On the road, the FL5 Civic Type R is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing on the road. It does everything you want it to. It's engaging. Even just putting around like this, it's very engaging. You know what the car is gonna do. It's more than fast enough for the street with, you know, well over 300 horsepower. The steering is, for an electric steering rack, it is pretty darn good. You know, you definitely know where you're pointing the car, and you can kind of feel the road pretty well. You know, not as good as a manual rack, but it is very precise, especially in plus R mode steering. It is really tight, definitely too tight for daily driving, but for spirited driving, plus R mode steering is super sweet. I'm mostly in comfort steering or sport steering. Right now I'm in sport steering. The car is not necessarily super quiet, but it's quiet enough, for being a Type R. I don't have any complaints about, the road noise and stuff like that. It's fine. Like, you guys can hear, like, I'm just kind of trucking along right now at 35 miles an hour on this pretty smooth road, and yeah, no complaints at all about the road noise. Oh god, this guy's so slow. But yeah, the road matters. I've really enjoyed. Said it's easy to drive fast. It's easy to drive slow. It's just a very easy car to drive on the road. And I remember, I'm talking about on the road, like on the street like this. It is it's not an intimidating car to just put around in and just drive. That's for dang sure. Gas mileage has been great. Like right now, I'm averaging 32.8, right? It's like, you can't get better than that. 32.8 on a very high performance vehicle. Yeah. But that's the road matters. What I have found from doing the autocross is the Type R is very tricky to drive when you're going all out. The car rotates very quick on you, especially with all the driver aids turned off. So you have to be ready. Like, I spun out once at the autocross because I had all the aids turned off. I had cold tires, right? I blame the cold tires more than anything else, because it was a very cold morning in Sonoma during the autocross. Yeah, and I got the car to spin out. So the driving dynamics are tricky, but learnable. And I've seen guys on the track do a lot of correcting on the steering, right, when they're driving, because the car does like to slide, and that rear end will come around on you quick, which is like good and bad, right? Because you want the rear end to rotate, but not over rotate, especially in a front wheel drive car. Once that rear end over rotates on a front wheel drive car, there's like nothing you could do. It's just, you're just done. You're just gonna spin out, because your drivetrain is in the front, right? So yeah, I've really enjoyed driving this car on the road. Road matters. Absolutely epic. Yeah, but just the way the car drives. Like here, I'm just, like I said, 50 miles an hour around this corner, no problem. Right? It just does it effortlessly. Brakes are really good. I've avoided a few accidents, with people pulling out on me, sudden red lights, things of that nature. The car just stops when you stomp on it. Alright, let's hit it here a little bit. Oh, so much debris in the road today. It was a windy night last night in the mountains. The rev matching, the auto rev match. It's so good, I feel like I don't even need to do it anymore. Do I still do it sometimes? Yeah, I still do it sometimes, but most of the time I leave it on. Like, trail braking into a corner like this is just so good on this car. You can get it to rotate and just throttle out. Drive within limits, you guys. Have some fun, but don't overdo it. never know who's around the corner. Especially on the street, you guys. Just take it easy. Do some spirited driving, have some fun. I'm all for that. Don't go over the limit. You know, in my 1 year ownership, I've been able to do some really fun stuff with the car. Met some really cool people. Got a lot of thumbs up just driving on the side of the road, which is pretty awesome. You know, people see the car and they're still happy to see the car, which is great. You know, went to a Type R meet up here in the Bay Area. That was really fun, really cool to see. So many owners. We had over 100 cars show up, and it was very well organized. No bullshitting around, you know. We all got to stand around and talk about each other's cars, of course, you know, and things of that nature. And then, yeah, and then it was off to a photo shoot, and we were done. It was very nicely done. So normally I start in this spot, but this is where I'm gonna end the video. Backup camera sucks, by the way, you guys. The resolution on it is absolutely terrible. But I don't really care. I know a lot of people complain about it, but I don't really care. It's there. I use it, you know. Cons about the car. I guess it could be a pro or a con. The red seats, right? I love them. Absolutely love them. But are very hard to take care of, obviously. So, yeah. The brake dust is a con. But again, that's remediable. It's not like something that you can't fix. Like, you could just get different type of brake pads and solve that issue. God, it's really hard to fault stuff about this car. I'm serious. Like, it's really hard to fault anything about this car. I guess the only two things I can really think of right off the top of my head is the vagueness of the gas pedal when you're heel towing, right? At least for me, anyway. I feel like, you know, if you're trying to heel toe manually, the gas pedal feels vague against your heel. But when you're driving around, the gas pedal feels great. When you're on there, when you're just pushing on the gas pedal to go, it's fine. But when you, at least for me, when I'm blipping my heel over, it feels very vague, and I can't tell how much I'm blipping the throttle by. So a lot of times I underdo it, right? Because I can't tell. And then the second thing is the pillar. There's right here, right? The pillar that comes down by the window, by the driver's side window. It's smaller than previous Civics, which is nice, but it's still in the way. Like when I'm turning left for a sharp turn, I kind of have to lean out of the seat and like look so I can see all the way out the corner, which is fine, but I kind of wish, you know, they did something a little bit better with the pillar, at least for me. Yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, I guess there are a couple things now that I'm thinking about it. The paint is paper thin on this car, you guys. The paint is paper thin. So be careful. Get some protection on it. I have Icon Rock Clear. It's a liquid PPF. That has helped quite a bit with nicks and chips. I mean, it's not going to save everything. You know, I have rock chips and stuff. You know, it looks really clean, but I have rock chips and stuff. And I have touch-up paint, so, you know, I touch up the rock chips and stuff. The windshield is also paper thin. So yeah, be careful. Don't follow too close behind people because you're gonna get chips all over your bumper and all over your windshield. My windshield has some very minor chips because I'd like to back off of people. I don't really follow people really closely. So yeah, those are kind of like the cons right there. Not a ton, honestly. Which is great, you know. I mean, I bought this car to own forever, and knowing that there's not many cons about it, yeah, it's great. I mean, of course, there's rev hang. I mean, that's always prominent in today's cars because everything's so electronic, right? But it's fine. It's mostly noticeable from first to second. Other than that, you can shift pretty fast. Second to third, third to fourth, fourth to fifth, fifth to sixth, you can shift really quickly. But first to second, you just gotta take your time. And yeah, don't force it because that's when you will grind. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the lip as the mod, right? Oh, and my OEM visors, you know. OEM, I mean, but they're just, I mean, this is not really like a mod, right? It's just kind of like an accessory. So yeah. And my Yiso Bat King lip, of course, right? You guys have seen me make a video on that. If not, go watch it. But yeah, I absolutely love this car. It is one of the hardest cars to keep clean though. There's vents everywhere, right? The side of the car just gets plastered with brake dust. The door jambs are really hard to keep clean. It just, the door jambs look like this all the time. Like after you go for a drive, and then in the rain too, like it's just a mess. So after a car wash, I'm constantly wiping the door jambs down. Yeah, but you know, very minor stuff to complain about. Very minor stuff to complain about. This is starting to fade a little bit right here because that's where I rest my arm a lot. But that's kind of expected. You know, maybe I can do something about that, clean it up or something. Maybe there's some type of protectant I can use to help it from fading even more. But yeah, 45,000 miles on her now. I've driven 28 of those 45,000 miles and no regrets, guys. No regrets. The only thing I probably regret is just the payment, right? Because I had no car payment for years, and then I got this thing, and now I have a car payment, and insurance is expensive, and gas is expensive, and tires are expensive, and brakes are expensive. You know, everything on this car is more upscale than a regular Civic. Compared to like a real sports car, no, it's not that expensive. But you know, as an economy sports car, it's pretty pricey for some of the stuff you have to do. But you know, it's well worth it. Yep, no regrets at all in the purchase. You know, I wanted something newer, I got something newer, and 1 year later, I still enjoy every minute of this car. Yeah, I just smile every time I see it, every time I drive it, every time I wash it, detail it. Yeah, it's just great. It's just great. Well, thanks for joining this episode of Spicy Adventures and my 1 year ownership of my FL5. Yeah, if you guys are looking to get one, I say come get one. If you guys want to meet up sometime up here in California, let me know. Let's do it. Yeah, let's get together. Let's go for a drive. You want to be featured on my channel? Feel free to come on by, and we can do that too. I love comparing cars. I love doing reviews. So yeah, see you guys on the next one. Peace.